Hi, guys. So, the topic I chose for my graduate project was food waste in college dining centers. So, the objective of my research paper was to examine food waste trends in college campuses. And through the research, I found that most of the food waste occurring in college dining centers was from students not eating all the food on their plates. But there also was some pre consumer food waste as well, which was happening in production with the kitchen staff. So these findings suggested that efforts to reduce food waste should be targeted at students. But previous studies have revealed that most students do have a positive attitude when it comes to reducing food waste, but they are not sure how to do so. So they don't really know what items can be recycled, what items can be composted. And a lot of times universities don't provide adequate resources for these students. So that means that the universities need to do a better job of providing education and resources in order to help combat this problem. So, why is food waste a problem, or why should we care to try and fix this problem? So, food waste causes a lot of harmful effects on the environment. Some of these effects are it contributes to excess consumption of fresh water, and there are also methane and CO2 emissions from decomposing foods, which contributes to the greenhouse gas emissions that really mess up the Earth's ozone. And then also another big problem is it contributes to food insecurity. So when we waste food, it wastes a lot of natural resources like land, water, and whatnot. So wasting these resources takes away opportunities for those who are food insecure to obtain food. So that's also a really big problem because food insecurity in developed regions is a big problem in the United States. So I added some of these pictures to kind of depict like what food waste is and what it does. So this picture shows a bunch of food just sitting in a landfill. So this is kind of where the methane and CO2 emissions come from the food sitting there and decomposing. And the research that I reviewed also revealed that the foods that give off the most CO2 emissions are beef and poultry products. So those are some that we really have to make sure we aren't wasting or we're disposing of properly. And then this picture down here shows a bunch of perfectly fine food just sitting in a trash can. So this kind of depicts the whole thing where a lot of food waste comes from post consumers. They aren't eating all of their food on their plates, or we overbuy and this food ends up in the garbage because it goes bad. So I guess the second point kind of goes with that would be pre-consumer waste in college campuses. Um, so the few solutions that I found based off this research I listed over here, I think to eliminate pre-consumer waste, it would be good to train a kitchen staff member so they can accurately produce forecasting records and keep track of inventory so they don't overorder. And then the forecasting records, those would help because it shows like for a certain meal, like how much of an item they need to order based off past time serving the meal. So this also helps with over ordering and overproduction because that's where a lot of the food waste comes in. On pre-consumer waste, the kitchen staff over orders the food or they overproduce because they think they're going to have more people eating the meal than they do. So that could potentially help with that issue. And then the rest of the solutions I have kind of target the students on college campuses. So targeting post-consumer waste. So the first one I decided was provide adequate and accessible recycling and compost bins on campus for student use. Some of the research that I reviewed stated that there really wasn't, like it was very inconvenient for the students to recycle. And then I didn't really find any research about compost bins. So I think that kind of shows that those really aren't a thing right now on college campuses, which I think would be very helpful for students to get rid of their excess food. And then I also said that students need to be provided with education on how to reduce food waste. The research also revealed that a lot of students didn't really understand like what foods could be recycled and what foods couldn't. So I think one way to kind of knock out two birds with one stone is in any like general education class that everyone is required to take, like biology or chemistry, I think it'd be good to have like a little section on food waste and how it affects us and the environment. I think that fit in nicely with the class like biology. So I think that'd be a good way to kind of educate students and get them to understand how it affects them. And then the last one I had was employ a staff member that is an expert on sustainability. I think this would really help because this staff member could provide opportunities for students to really be involved with reducing food waste. I think one way would they could, start a sustainability club. I know here on campus, I'm involved in the food nutrition club, and a lot of volunteer opportunities we have that really helps us for the future. So I think having a sustainability club would be a really great way to get students involved, get them volunteering, and get them to really care about food waste on campus. And then the staff member would also just be there to provide resources for other faculty. They could hold panels talking about food waste. They could provide solutions to food waste on campus. So I think having a full-time staff member would be really beneficial. So overall, after reviewing all the research, I found that food waste in college campuses is a complex problem that happens at every level. And while I understand that every university wouldn't be able to produce a full-on sustainability program that launches all these initiatives, I believe that it is feasible to implement a few small policies that will help in a big way. It has shown that students are willing to learn and do their part with food waste, but they just need to be provided with adequate resources and education in order to do so. So I feel that this falls on the university. They need to really do their part in providing recycling bins, education, just anything for students to get more involved in reducing food waste. So that is all I had on this topic. Thank you for listening, guys.